In this video, you're going to learn how to make a gradebook in Excel. Once you're finished, you'll be able to create grade categories and assign weights to each, set up different grade items that belong to various categories, easily enter grades for each student, and as you capture grades over time, you can use the lookup page to select a student and see their final grade along with a breakdown of their overall performance. And so, if you would like to learn how to make this template, then stick with me. And if not, you can always purchase it via the link in the description. That being said, let's get started. The first thing that we will do is set up the worksheet structure. Click here to select all of the cells, set the vertical alignment to middle, and the horizontal alignment to center. Then right-click on the row headers, row height, set the height to 20, click OK. Then right-click on the column headers, column width, set the width to 12, and click OK. Next, select column A, right-click, column width, set the width to 6, and click OK. Select column B next, change the horizontal alignment to left, then right-click, column width, set the width to 20, and click OK. Finally, select row 1, bold the font, increase the font size to 16, then right-click, row height, set the height to 30, and click OK. Also, go ahead and add a light gray fill color like so. Next, click on the down arrow next to the borders button here and change the line color to this light gray. When you do, Excel may go into draw borders mode, and you can tell because your mouse icon will look like this. If that's the case, click the down arrow next to the borders button and click draw border to exit that mode. Once you've done that, make sure that row 1 is still selected. Click the down arrow next to the borders button and apply the bottom border. Finally, turn off the grid lines by going to View, uncheck grid lines. Awesome. That does it for the worksheet structure. So go ahead and make a copy of this worksheet by right-clicking on the Worksheet tab, select Move or Copy, check Create a Copy, and click OK. You can then rename one sheet to Lookup and rename the other to Grades. Fantastic. At this point, navigate to the Grades worksheet. Select cell B1 and type in Gradebook. Next, select the range B5 through B14 and then go to Home, Borders, All Borders. Now, this is enough space for 10 students, but if you have more than 10, you want to extend this range down further. It will be tedious to add more space later on, so it might be a good idea to set up more space than you think you will need. But for the sake of screen space in this video, I will just be including enough space for 10 students like you see here. And once you've set up the borders, select the range again, bold the font, and apply a light gray fill color. Next, select the range C3 through L14 or all the way down to the last row of your student range if you added more space for more students, and then apply all borders to this range. Now, this amount of space will allow for up to 10 different grade items. If you plan on having more than 10 grade items, then extend this range further to the right like so. Then, once you've done that, select the top row of this range, bold the font, add a light blue fill color or a color of your choice. Then select the row of cells below, bold the font, and add a light gray fill color. Finally, select the rest of the cells within the grade table and click this button to change the number format to %. Awesome. Now we're going to set up a space to create different grade categories. So select a range of cells just to the right of your grade table like so, and apply all borders. Each column that you select here is going to allow for one category. Here, I have space for 4 categories, and if you have more than 4, then just extend the range over to the right, 1 column for each category. And once you've done that, select the second row of this range, bold the font, and add the same fill color that you chose for the top row of the grade table. Nice. Now we're going to set up the space for the final grades. Select a 1-column range just to the right of the category table and apply all borders. Then select the second cell from the top, bold the font, add the same fill color, and type in Final Grade. Now, to finish up the formatting, select the top row of the category table, bold the font, and change the number format to %. Then select the top cell of the final grade column, bold the font, change the font color to blue, add a light gray fill color, and change the number format to %. Now select the cells below the colored row of the category table, change the font color to blue, add a light gray fill color, and change the number format to %. Then select the cells below the colored cell of the final grade column, change the font color to blue, add a light gray fill color, and change the number format to %. Nice. The formatting is now complete. Let's add in the functionality next. Start by adding your categories to the colored row within the category table like this. And once you've added your categories, you are ready to create drop-down menus for the top row of your grade table. So go ahead and select that range of cells and go to Data, Data Validation. Under Allow, select List, and for the source, select the categories that you just added. Then click OK, and now you have drop-down menus to help you assign categories to each grade item. Speaking of which, now is a great time to add in some sample data like so. And also add in some student names and grades as well. Now, you don't have to include as much as I did, but it is a good idea to add in at least a little. And once you've done so, the next step is to assign weights or percentages to each category by typing them above. Now, you want to make sure that the percentages add up to 100%. And a good way to check this is by selecting the cell above final grade and enter the formula equals sum function, select the category percentages, close parentheses, and press enter. And now you can check to make sure that these percentages always add up to 100%. Okay, at this point, we're going to write the formulas to calculate the overall average for each category for each student. Select the cell under the first category and enter the following formula. Equals if error function, average ifs function, then select the grades for the first student. Now, this next detail is important. You want to place $signs in front of the column letters of this reference, and you do this so that the column letter part of the reference won't change when we copy this formula to other cells later on. And once you've added the $signs, move to the next argument of the average ifs function, and select the categories that you've assigned above the grade table like so. And for this reference, add $signs before both the column letters and the row numbers so that no part of this reference will change. Then move to the next argument and select the category right above the cell that you are working in, and place a $sign in front of the row number like so. Move to the next argument, select the grades for the first student again, place $signs in front of the column letters, move to the next argument, quote, left arrow, right arrow, quote, close parentheses, next argument, 1, close parentheses, and press enter. With that, you have the overall average for the first category and first student. And all you have to do now is copy the formula over for each category, then copy the formulas down for every student. Now, before we move on, let's discuss how this formula works. The average ifs function looks at the grades for the corresponding student, and it calculates the average based on only those grade cells that correspond with the designated category and are not empty. Now, in the case that no grades are entered for a specific category, the average ifs function will return an error. But when it does, the if error function catches that error and returns a 1 or 100% by default. And now that we've calculated the averages for each category, we can calculate the final grades for each student. So start by selecting the cell right under final grade and enter the following formula. Equals sum product function, select the weight percentages for each category, and add $signs to every part of this reference to make it an absolute reference. Then move to the next argument for the sum product function and select the average grades in the top row for each category. Then close parentheses and press enter. The sum product function takes each average grade, multiplies it by the corresponding weight percentage, and then adds all of those values together. As a result, you get the final grade for the student in that row. To calculate the final grades for all the students, just copy the formula down with the fill handle. Awesome. That about does it for the Gradebook worksheet. Now let's turn our attention to the Lookup Worksheet. So go ahead and click on that Worksheet tab. Then select column B, change the horizontal alignment to center. Then right-click and insert. Then right-click again, column width, set the size to 12, and click OK. You can then select cell B1, change the horizontal alignment to left, and type in student lookup. Now select B3 through C3, apply all borders, select B5 through C11, apply all borders, and add a light gray fill color. After that, select B5 through C6, merge and center the cells, bold the font, increase the font size to 16, and type in final grade. Then select B7 through C11, merge and center, bold the font, increase the font size to 36, change the font color to blue, and change the number format to %. Then select cell B3, bold the font, add a light gray fill color, and type in student. Now we will add a drop-down menu that will make it easy to pick a specific student. So select cell C3 and go to Data, Data Validation. Under Allow, select List, and for the source, navigate to the Grades tab and select the full range of student names, including any cells that may not have a student name yet, but where you could potentially put one in the future. Then click OK, and you can now select a student name from the drop-down list. Now, before we add in the final grade and breakdown chart to the right, we need to go back to the Grades worksheet to perform some calculations there. So navigate back to the Grades tab and select the bottom row of the grade table, category table, and final grades. Go ahead and copy this range, select a cell in column B a few rows down, and paste. Then delete the sample grade data in this new row, and we're going to put formulas here instead that are going to capture the grades for the student that we select over on the lookup page. And to do this, first select this cell in column B and enter the formula equals. Click the Lookup tab, select the chosen student in C3, and press Enter. Now select the cell next to this one and enter the following formula equals if function, index function, and select the grades under the first item for every student like so. Move to the next argument, match function, select B17, and add $signs to make this an absolute reference. Next argument, select the entire range of student names, and then make this reference absolute by adding $signs. Then move to the next argument, 0, close parentheses, equals, quote, quote. Next argument, quote, quote. Next argument, index function. Select the grades under the first item for every student. Next argument, match function. Select B17 and add $signs to make this an absolute reference. Next argument, select the entire range of student names and make this reference absolute as well. Next argument, 0. Then close parentheses 3 times and press Enter. Now, this formula uses the index and match combination to return the corresponding grade for the selected student. And in the case that no grade has been entered, the formula is set to return nothing or a blank rather than the number 0. And that's why we include the if function here. That being said, go ahead and copy the formula over to the right for each grade item. And with these calculations complete, we can now finish the lookup page. So first, let's do the chart. Here on the grades worksheet, select the list of categories. Then hold Control and also select the grades here on the extra row at the bottom. Then go to Insert, Bar or Column Chart, 2D Column. Then right-click on the chart, Move Chart, select the lookup page, and click OK. You can then move and resize the chart so that it sits next to the other two elements on this page. And once you've done that, select the chart title, bold the font, change the color to black, and change the title to Grade Breakdown. Then click the chart, click the plus, uncheck grid lines, and check data labels. Next, select the horizontal axis, increase the font size to 12, then right-click and format axis. Click the paint bucket icon here, and under line, select no line. Then click the arrow next to axis options, select the vertical axis, click the data bars icon, and set the minimum to 0. Then under labels, select none. Click the arrow next to axis options next, select series 1, change the series overlap to 0, and change the gap width to 100%. You can now close the format panel, click on the data labels on the chart, increase the font size to 12, then click on the chart, click on the Format tab in the ribbon, and under Shape Fill, select this light gray, and under Shape Outline, select this other light gray. With that, you are done with the chart. So for the last formula, select the merged cell here, and enter the formula, equals, click on the Grades tab, select the final grade for the bottom extra row, and press Enter. Awesome. Now, before you go, we have one more thing to do. Right-click on the chart and select Data. Click Hidden and Empty Cells, Check the box next to Show Data in Hidden Rows and Columns, and click OK, then OK. This is going to enable you to move over to the Grades worksheet and hide the extra row on the bottom. And just like that, you've got your Gradebook template for Microsoft Excel. Throw me a like if you had fun, and maybe even subscribe if you learned something new. And of course, I will see you again in the next Spreadsheet Life video.